Welcome to a detailed explainer on the rise of nationalism in Europe, Chapter 1 of your Class 10 history textbook. In this video, we will travel across 19th century Europe and trace how the idea of the nation took shape, how revolutions, leaders, and culture transformed kingdoms into nation-states, and how this set the stage for the modern world. Before nationalism, Europe was a patchwork of kingdoms, empires, and princely states. People were loyal to their rulers, not to a country. Nationalism brought a powerful new idea, that people who share a common language, culture, history, and territory should come together to form a nation-state. The story really begins with the French Revolution of 1789. It declared a radical idea, that sovereignty belongs to the people, not the king. France became a nation of citizens. The royal flag was replaced by the tricolor. A national assembly was formed, internal customs were removed, uniform laws were introduced, and French became the common language. Liberty, equality, and fraternity became the new national ideals. Two French words became the heartbeat of this new world: la patrie, meaning the fatherland, and le citoyen, the citizen. National hymns, oaths, and festivals tied people emotionally to the nation. Soon the ideas of the French Revolution began to inspire movements across the whole of Europe. Then came Napoleon Bonaparte. Through his conquests, he carried revolutionary ideas across Europe. In 1804, he introduced the Napoleonic Code. It established equality before law, the right to property, and abolished feudal privileges. Wherever French armies went, modern administration, better transport, and the end of feudalism followed. But Napoleon's rule had two faces. On one side, modern laws, end of feudalism, better roads and trade. On the other, heavy taxation, censorship, and forced military recruitment. Slowly, nationalism began to turn against French domination itself. People wanted freedom not just from kings, but from foreign rule too. Early 19th century Europe was deeply divided. Germany was made of 39 separate states. Italy was a patchwork of kingdoms and duchies. The Habsburg Empire ruled over many different peoples, speaking many languages. At the same time, the rise of trade and industry created a new middle class of merchants, industrialists, and professionals, educated people who wanted change. Two great ideas now fought each other. Liberalism, from the Latin word liber meaning free, demanded individual freedom, equality before law, representative government, and free trade. Against it stood conservatism, which after 1815 wanted to restore monarchy, the church, and the traditional social order. These two forces shaped every revolution that followed. After Napoleon's defeat, the great powers met at the Congress of Vienna in 1815, hosted by the Austrian Chancellor Clemens von Metternich. Their goal was to undo the revolution. The Bourbon dynasty was restored in France. Buffer states were created around it. Austria gained northern Italy, and a German confederation was formed. A conservative order was set in place. But the conservative order would not last. In 1830, the Bourbon king of France was overthrown, and Belgium broke away to become independent. Then came the Great Wave of 1848, known as the Revolutions of the Liberals. Across Europe, people demanded a constitution, freedom of the press, parliamentary government, and national unification. Workers and peasants joined in, demanding better wages and a better life. Two moments stand out from this era. The Italian revolutionary Giuseppe Mazzini founded secret societies called Young Italy and Young Europe. He believed nations were the natural units of mankind. Meanwhile, in 1848, German liberals gathered at the Frankfurt Parliament in St. Paul's Church. They drafted a constitution and offered the crown of Germany to the King of Prussia, who refused it. The revolution failed, but the idea of German nationalism only grew stronger. Nationalism was not built only through politics. It was also built through culture. Romantic artists, poets, and musicians celebrated folk songs, traditional dances, and the soul of the people. In Poland, where Russia tried to crush identity, language and culture themselves became weapons of resistance. Women, too, played a powerful role, forming associations, joining political meetings and publishing newspapers, even though they were still denied the right to vote. Now history accelerates. In Germany, the chief minister of Prussia, Otto von Bismarck, declared that unification would come not through speeches, but through blood and iron. He fought 3 wars in 7 years, against Denmark in 1864, Austria in 1866, and France between 1870 and 71. In 1871, Kaiser William I was crowned Emperor of a united Germany in the Hall of Mirrors at Versailles. At almost the same time, Italy was being put together. 4 men made it possible. Giuseppe Mazzini gave the idea. The clever statesman Count Cavour, Prime Minister of Sardinia-Piedmont, formed an alliance with France. The hero Giuseppe Garibaldi marched his red shirts into Sicily and Naples. And under King Victor Emmanuel II, Italy was unified in 1861. Britain took a different path. There was no single revolution. Instead, the British nation was built slowly, through Parliament. The Act of Union of 1707 joined England and Scotland. Wales and Ireland followed. New symbols, the Union Jack, the national anthem, and the English language, bound the British Isles into one nation. How do you make people love something as abstract as a nation? Artists answered with allegory. France gave herself the figure of Marianne, with her red Phrygian cap and tricolor, the symbol of liberty. Germany was personified as Germania, with a sword and a crown of oak leaves, the symbol of heroism. Through these images, the nation became something you could see, feel, and even love. By the late 19th century, nationalism had a darker side. European powers raced for colonies in Africa and Asia, and rivalries grew between Germany, Britain, France, and Russia. The most dangerous flashpoint was the Balkans: Serbia, Greece, Romania, Bulgaria, and Albania. Once ruled by the Ottoman Empire, the region was now torn by ethnic and territorial conflict. In 1914, these tensions finally exploded into the First World War. And so, in just 1 century, Europe was transformed. From kingdoms ruled by monarchs to nations built by citizens, from feudal privilege to constitutions and rights. The rise of nationalism in Europe is not just history. It is the story of how the modern world came into being and how the idea of the nation continues to shape our lives today.